All right, good morning. Today we are talking fat loss, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I approach fat loss with my clients versus like the dieting slashing calories approach. So what I like to call my approach to fat loss is intuitive fat loss, because what I help my clients do and what I teach them to do is how to use their mind to produce the result that they want. Because here's the thing, if you've dieted before, or you have a long history with dieting, like myself, you know that diets work until they don't. It's almost like easy in a way to get really quick results, like lose those first 5, 10, 15 pounds. But then after we do that, then what? Typically, we gain them back, if not more than what we lost. And then we're left feeling totally confused, totally defeated, and like, what the heck am I doing wrong? Why can't I get this right? So by implementing these intuitive fat loss strategies that I'm going to talk about, yes, it is a slower process. And this is something I tell all of my clients right off the bat. This is not a lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks kind of thing. It's not. It's a slower process, but it's a sustainable process, and it's going to end that losing and regaining the same 15 pounds over and over again. Because if we can get your brain on board with what you're doing, you're unstoppable. It ends that back and forth cycle. So basically, intuitive fat loss is recognizing and honoring your hunger and fullness cues without having to track calories, track points, track macros, and while building a lot of self-trust along the way. Because this is why people feel like they have such a tough, challenging relationship with food, is because they don't trust themselves around food. Because after dieting so many times, it's like, okay, well now, every time after I go on a diet, I eat a whole tub of ice cream and a whole box of Oreos, and so I can't trust myself around those foods, so I just can't have them in my house. So what I help my clients do is build trust with themselves and with that food so that they can have any food in their house at any time without the fear of overdoing it. And I know at first it sounds like too good to be true. I had this client, we're still working together, but I have this client who, she was like, I can't have this certain kind of chocolate in my house. She's like, any other chocolate for the most part is fine. But I think it was Dove chocolate. She's like, these Dove chocolates, I can't do it. So I was like, all right, like I'm not going to force her to buy them, right? And then about a month later, she's like, after we were working a lot on her mindset and a lot on incorporating these little like treat yourself moments throughout the day, she's like, I think I'm ready to try with like that chocolate that she said she couldn't control herself around. And it's a really cool thing to see, because that's what it's all about. That's self-trust right there. It's like, I'm ready to try this thing that scares me a little bit, but I know no matter what the outcome is, I'll be able to handle it, right? And I think a lot of times after a lot of dieting and a lot of challenges with dieting, we lose that self-trust. And we think the only way, and this was her too, the only way for me to stay on track is if I'm tracking my food. But listen, like if that was true, it would have worked already, and you wouldn't have to keep going back to Weight Watchers, and you wouldn't have to keep going back to the MyFitnessPal app, right? If tracking food was the solution, it would have worked already. It's not the solution. And this is why we need to link your brain and your body together so that they can start working together versus against each other. So intuitive fat loss is saying things to yourself like, do I want to eat this versus can I eat this? Am I allowed to eat this? Like, do I want to eat these Oreos? Instead of, I'm not allowed to eat these, I can't have it. Or how much food does it take to make me feel satisfied? This is something I work with my clients on all the time, is building out these really rounded, well-rounded, balanced meals so that they stay satisfied longer than an hour, and then they're rummaging through the snack cabinet, right? So how much food does it take to fill me up versus how much food do I get today? How many times have you had that like 1,400 calorie limit and all day long you're like, okay, I ate 800 calories at breakfast. That means I only have this many for the rest of the day, and I still have my snacks, my lunch, and dinner, and it's just not enough calories. And we start freaking out over it, right? You don't have to do that. Instead, you get to ask yourself, How much food does it take to make me feel satisfied? Or how much food do I need to fuel my workouts? Instead of worrying about exactly what you eat pre and post workout and worrying about the calories there, or thinking like this is something that I know my clients love and that I love too, is that now they're able to say, I can eat whatever I want, whenever I want. It's always a choice. They know that they are in control of when they eat, why they eat, and how much they eat. Whether it's pizza or a salad or ice cream, whatever it is, they know that it's always a choice that they're making. And it's not right or wrong, it's not good or bad, but framing it in that way that it's always my choice is a really empowering place to be, versus going to your diet book or going to the little workbook that you get and seeing how much is allowed, right? As humans, it's like I always tell my clients, we have these little toddlers running around in our brain that are kind of running the show. You tell a toddler like, no, you can only have or you can't have ice cream today. What are they going to do? Most often, they're not going to be very happy about it, especially if they really, really, really want the ice cream. They might throw a little temper tantrum. That's what the toddler in your brain does, and it's trying to run the show. But by saying, okay, you can have a little ice cream now, that just means that later you're probably not going to eat the Oreos or something like that. It's like, what do you want now versus in the future? Is this really worth the indulgence right now? Or do you want to save it for later, right? So it's more of a choice than a yes or no. And then also with intuitive fat loss, food is just food. And what I find with people who are dieting and stuck in the dieting mentality, they are, instead of saying food is food, they're thinking like food is my greatest reward, but at the same time, it is the biggest stressor in my life right now, right? So there's nothing neutral about it. It's either I love it so much or I can't stand it, because there's no in between. It's all or nothing. And by using intuitive fat loss, like I do with my clients, versus dieting, we find that middle ground. And my clients learn to create this peace with food and with their body, and they're not constantly judging themselves about what they're eating or not eating. They're not constantly judging themselves about eating pizza. Like one of my clients said to me the other day, she's like, I just needed like a taste of pizza that my family ordered. She had a salad, I think from like Trader Joe's or something, and her mom had ordered pizza. She's like, I just wanted a taste, and that was plenty. And a lot of times, guys, that's what it is. Like, we just want the taste of the food. And people say all the time, but the food just tastes so good, I don't want to stop eating it. Trust me, I get it. But the thing is, the food will never stop tasting good. It's always going to taste good. Pizza's always going to taste good. It's bread and cheese. It's never going to taste bad, right? And so just reminding yourself that there's always more where that came from. I can always get more later. Just because I'm passing on it now doesn't mean that I always have to pass on it. I was talking to another one of my clients last night. We were texting, and she's like, I find when I go out to eat, I'm always looking for the lowest calorie option. So I got tacos and a side salad when what I really think I wanted was the sweet potato fries. And she had also texted me the day before to say that they had made sweet potato fries in their air fryer. And so I texted her back last night and I said, I get what you're saying, but also remember you had sweet potato fries last night. So maybe you're not depriving yourself today, you're just making that swap, right? We talk about that a lot too. And she's like, yeah, she's like, that actually makes sense. She said, and I really wanted a drink tonight, so I got a margarita, so I guess I did make the right choice, because it is about that balance, right? And I think that with intuitive fat loss and sometimes with intuitive eating, people are, and I've had clients say this to me too, like, well, if you're telling me that I should just eat whatever I want, then how come I have to choose one or the other? And because it's that middle ground, right? It's not eating everything and anything that you want like the little toddler would, right? Just eat the sugar till they're sick. And it's not restricting. It's being the adult and living in the middle and saying, I can do this. I can eat all the cookies and all the ice cream and all the pizza if I want to. I can also restrict myself, but I know the consequences of both of those choices. So let me find something in the middle, right? Maybe I'll have a slice of pizza with salad, or 2 slices of pizza with a salad on the side. Maybe I'll eat my salad, and if I'm still hungry after, then I'll have some pizza. There's not one, it's not one size fits all. There's not one answer. And I think that this is why with this approach, especially, one of my clients, she's like, I need data. She's like, I need to know if I'm doing this right. I need to know the exact steps. And that's, I think, one of the hardest things for people is the way I approach fat loss with my clients. There are no rules. There are guidelines for sure. But there are no rules. There's no one answer. It's not one size fits all. And I think that can be really hard for people. And a lot of times that can be harder than dieting, because dieting gives us, eat this much, these are the foods you're allowed to eat, and now go on your way and just go do it, right? And it feels like that's easy, but it's not. Again, if it was easy, if that was the solution, it would have worked. The solution really is getting your brain and your body on the same page so that they can work together instead of working against each other. And this is why I do so much mindset work with my clients. We manipulate their diet very minimally. It's like these small changes that we make depending on the person. What I really help them do is be able to eat the chocolate that they love and not feel like they're going to go overboard with it, or feeling okay that they had ice cream randomly one night just because they wanted it, or how to incorporate wine into their summer because it's just something that they love so much, or incorporating a few glasses of wine per week. Like, that's what we do, because if we can let go of the obsessive food thoughts and am I doing this right? Am I doing it wrong? How much food do I have left? How many calories do I have left? How much food and how many calories do I have to eat to lose weight? If we can let go of all of that, fat loss becomes so simple. It's almost like, it's not almost, it is. If we do the mindset work, if we approach fat loss with this intuitive method, fat loss becomes a side effect. It just becomes like something your body naturally does because you got your mind right. And people are so skeptical of that. I think like all of my clients, before we start working together, they're skeptical of it. They're like, how does this work if I don't have those like straight guidelines? But it just works. It works. Like I always say to you guys, it's never a food issue. It's never a calorie issue. It's never a carb issue. It's how you're thinking about it. And so with intuitive fat loss, it's 90% mindset, 10% diet manipulation. Really. So that said, take it, digest it. Spots in my one-on-one program are opening up on Monday. So if you're interested in learning more about this intuitive fat loss approach versus dieting that's just not working for you, send me a DM. I'll send you all the information on the program. We can decide if it's the right program for you. I'm going to go take this girl outside because she's driving me crazy. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.